Hi, this is Mark. This video is part of a series of 3, and if you have not watched the earlier videos, I urge you to go back and watch those first because I built a foundation which leads up to this video. Hey there and welcome to this video. Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is within you. And when your consciousness is not mesmerized with your mind, that very kingdom will energize your consciousness and change everything in your life. Now, I've spoken to you about consciousness throughout this whole video series. Now we need to go through a technique that will help you separate your consciousness from the demand of the mind, the mesmerization of the mind. And the reason it's been mesmerized is because your consciousness has been there for a very long time. It's dominated your consciousness from a very small child, and it's going to take a little time. But the following exercise is only designed for one job, and it's a very simple job, but the job is, the result is extremely powerful, extremely powerful. It's going to seem like it's nothing though, but all good things are very simple, very gentle, and very peaceful. And this is the way of the spirit, so to speak. When you do this exercise, it is designed to literally train you how to see from a different place. It's also going to make you understand how it feels to be in a different place. And really, you're not in a different place. You're really actually separating from a place that was never designed to be your God, where the knowledge of good and evil is fed to your consciousness. Now, if you haven't watched the other videos, please do so, because I've talked about how I'm not saying your thoughts are evil. I'm not saying your mind is evil. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying your mind was never designed for this job. Your mind is a great tool, and it's a very, very powerful tool when used correctly, but it's not supposed to be the boss of your life. It's not supposed to be in charge of your life. And at the moment, whatever goes through your mind becomes your reality, because your consciousness is fully merged and mesmerized by your mind, by the thoughts. This leads to so much horror, so much pain, so much suffering that it's unbelievable. But you haven't known how to separate. So this is an exercise in doing that. Now, let's just stop for a moment. Now, did you notice that silence there? Did you notice any feeling within you as the silence came? Now, there's an interesting thing happening right now, and it's just a kind of precursor to what we're going to be doing. Right now, you've given me your full attention. You're listening to my voice and maybe watching me on the video screen here. And by giving me that attention, and I'm deliberately pausing for a reason. By giving me that attention, you're literally giving me your consciousness for a moment. What I'm saying is forming in your consciousness and bringing understanding, I hope. When I stop talking for a moment, there is a point in time where your consciousness is left hanging. Now, in that place, just for a very small moment, you may find, hopefully, that there is no thoughts. There was no thoughts running through your mind. And that's because I had your attention, but then I dropped your attention by using my silence. Now, this is what we're aiming for. We're aiming for you to be just sitting in a place of stillness. Now, this is not an exercise in blocking thoughts. It's very important you understand that. So if a thought should rise, your only job really is just to become aware of that thought. Just stay in a separate place. Much like how you're listening to me right now. Now, right now, you can actually watch and listen to my voice. But my voice should not be controlling your life. It should not be viewed as something that has control over you. It's not your thought. And that's really how you should view your own thoughts, as if it's almost somebody else's voice. I'm not saying it is. I'm just giving you an example of how to view it. Of course, be careful that you understand what I'm saying here. This is just another way of seeing this. It's another technique. What we're aiming for is to pull your consciousness out of being mesmerized by your thoughts. The truth is that most people are really technically hypnotized by their own thoughts. The moment a thought rises, the thought is the reality for that person. So we're trying, and I don't like the word trying, but we're aiming to pull people, you right now, out of your mesmerization with your mental activity. So what I'd like you to do right now, we're going to try a little exercise. I'd like you to just close your eyes. Hopefully you're in a nice peaceful room. And if not, maybe stop this video and go somewhere nice and peaceful and just try this exercise. Now what I want you to do is I want you to start doing this exercise that I'm about to do, maybe 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the evening. Now the ideal is that you just learn this technique and you do it on your own, but I'm happy to be that voice for the time being to help you, to pull you out of your thoughts and hold you in the moment for as long as possible. There's no magic in anything I'm going to say. There's no magic in this technique itself. It's just a means to an end, and the end is to bring your consciousness to a still place where it's not being controlled or mesmerized by your thoughts. Okay, your thoughts will still remain, but they will not be that which controls you. You'll have objectivity to your thoughts. Okay, so anyway, I'd like you just to sit comfortably, but not too comfortably. Don't get too cozy where you fall asleep. Just sit comfortably. A chair would be nice. And close your eyes. And I want to make you aware of something. If you close your eyes and you look at your eyelids, if you look inward, I want you to remember something. Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is within you. It's also said that God is light. And as you look at your eyelids, you should see some sparkling lights or some lights moving around. Just simply become aware of those lights. In that place, you will find yourself in a place of consciousness where the light of God will start to shine through your consciousness onto your mind. Almost your mind's eye, you could say. Now this may not happen immediately, but just gently look. Just gently look. Look into the darkness, so to speak. Look at the inside of your eyelids and just see if you can notice kind of almost like a sparkling or any lights moving around, small little tiny pixels of light, and just become aware of that. And if you don't see that right now, don't worry, don't fret, just become aware as if you're looking at the inside of your eyelids. And at the same time, and this helps just to anchor you in the moment, I'd like you to just to become aware of your hand, your right hand, which you could place by your side. And as you become aware of your right hand, your hand will respond. Now, if you're sitting in a place of consciousness separate from your thoughts, you really are in a place where the Spirit of God is. When you're lost in your thoughts, you're blocked from that Spirit. The Spirit never goes anywhere. God never went anywhere. It is said that in Him all things are held together. And this is true. God is in all things. This is how God is in all things. It's been said that God is not in the universe, but the universe is in God. God is the very spirit between the atoms that holds all matter together. The Spirit of God is all around us, like almost like water to a fish. It's in us, around us. And the kingdom of heaven happens within us. The kingdom of heaven is within us. And this is what we're getting in touch with as we do this exercise. And there's nothing for you to do. You don't have to reach out. You don't have to think. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to use any effort. All you need to do is simply become aware of a part of your body, and that very action will keep you in a place of kind of a refuge from your thoughts. Now you may notice that your thoughts start to pop up. You may notice that you start to think of this and that, and maybe start thinking about something that happened yesterday or something that you're going to do tomorrow. And if that happens, and I guarantee you it will happen because of the nature of how we work and how we've been trained, just become aware of that. That's all you need to do. Do not block your thoughts. That's very dangerous. Just become aware of your thoughts. The very action of becoming aware of your thoughts is a very powerful thing, because if you're with your thoughts and you're unaware of them, then you're merged. Your consciousness is merged with your thoughts. The moment you are the observer of your thought, that instant you are separate. You have to be separate. The only way you can observe something is by being separate from it. A good analogy, I love this analogy because it's very, very visual. If you imagine that your thoughts are like a river flowing, and our usual state is that we're in the river with the thoughts flowing down the river, and all we can see is the thoughts. We don't even realize we're in a river, and we're flowing along with the current. To us, we feel still because we're flowing with the thoughts, but really there's great movement. It's almost a chaos. And when you learn this exercise and you find the place of stillness that I'm helping you to reach, you'll really notice the difference. When your mind is racing with thoughts, it actually feels like movement, and it is. So as you're flowing with your thoughts, you're lost in thought. The moment you become aware of a thought or of the thought stream, it's like you being pulled out of the river, and now you're sitting on the bank of the river looking at the thoughts passing you by. And that doesn't mean to say you block the thought. You can still see a thought. It may be a valid thought. It may be something that you need to remember. It may even be something coming through from the Spirit of God for your awareness. It may be a past trauma. It may be anything. This is why we mustn't block our thoughts. Sometimes thoughts are there to bring something to our attention. But the secret to this is to not be mesmerized by them. Is to observe the thought from a place of stillness and objectivity. Now I know this is very hard for some people because you've been so lost in thought for so long, and you've been so emotional and so hurt and so traumatized, and I understand that, so be gentle with yourself. If you find it almost impossible to be objective with your thoughts, if you find that the moment a thought rises, you're off with that thought, that's okay. In about 5, maybe even 10 minutes time, I guarantee you that the spirit that we're speaking of, will prompt you, and you'll suddenly become aware that you're off with your thoughts. You'll suddenly notice, wow, where have I been? Wow, I've been off with my thoughts. That moment is very powerful. Do not condemn yourself. Do not think in that moment, oh no, I failed again. How long have I been off with my thoughts? Do not focus in that way. That is a powerful moment. Rejoice. Rejoice because the Spirit of God awakened you to your lost in thought state. It brought you back to the moment. Rejoice. Almost say thank you in that moment. Smile, whatever. Be natural. Don't smile just because I'm telling you to. Hopefully you understand. That is a moment of truth. Embrace that and realize, oh, I'm back. And then just sit in that stillness for however long you can. Now what can help, And the reason this helps is because it anchors you, it helps to anchor you in the moment. Okay? Now, this very action of what I'm about to teach you in a moment can become hypnotic in and of itself. So be careful, be very gentle. The secret is no will and no effort. All you need to do is just become aware of a part of your body, and at the same time, look at the inside of your eyelids. Now, it's a very interesting thing that because typically our consciousness is singularly focused, that is actually a mesmerizing element. We are singularly focused on our thoughts, typically. But if you become aware of the inside of your eyelids, and if you can see those lights or the little sparkles moving around on the inside of your eyelids, whilst at the same time just becoming aware of your right hand, and as you become aware of your right hand will respond. You may feel a sensation, it may even get warm, it may even tingle a little bit, or you just will feel your hand respond in some way. In that moment, that's holding you in the moment, and that's a good thing. Now, what you can do also is you can literally move your consciousness or your awareness from finger to finger. So just start from your first finger. Just become aware of your first finger. The moment your first finger tingles or responds in some way, just kind of acknowledge that and move to your next finger. And just gently do this. Just use this as an exercise to keep you out of your thought processes. Now, in that place, you'll find yourself in a place of stillness, but be careful. You're supposed to be alert in that place. You can actually drift off in the peace and the silence, and maybe sometimes you may even fall asleep. Maybe you need the sleep, and that's fine. Once again, the secret is just to keep coming back to that place. Now, this is the simplicity of this exercise. Just keep repeating that process. Keep pulling yourself back into the moment by becoming aware of your thoughts or becoming aware of a part of your body. When you're aware of something, you're the observer of it and you're separate from it, and that's the key. The reason this is powerful is because when you are separate, you are outside of the knowledge of good and evil center, and you sit within your natural state. Now, I want to really emphasize this because this stillness, this separation is your natural state. It is the natural state of man to have our consciousness fed by the Spirit of God. This is where our consciousness was supposed to be. And I believe that Adam, before he fell, his consciousness was fully immersed in the Spirit of God. And his thought processes were subject to that arrangement, so to speak. If you imagine your consciousness being in a neutral place, where you're in a still place, and the Spirit of God is your guiding light, that very light will shine through your consciousness and actually influence your mind, and will be the process of renewing your mind and giving you the mind of Christ. Christ came fully connected to the Spirit of God. That's how Christ came. And that Spirit flowed through Christ, through his consciousness, in all that he did. His thoughts, actions, everything that Christ did was very powerful because of his deep, awakened state to the Spirit. He'd never lost it. Just like Adam before he fell into the knowledge of good and evil, which was his thought processes. And those thought processes obviously became his guiding light. And that's it. This is the simplicity of this exercise. Just do this in the morning, do it in the evening. Just set aside some time just before you go to bed, maybe when you get up in the morning. Set aside some time. That's all you need to do. It's very, very simple. It's no different from if you want to build muscles, you go to the gym. Okay, you don't look upon the activity as really having anything in that activity. There's no magic within the activity, so to speak. It's just that by placing yourself in a place of exercise, you naturally gain muscles. Essentially, this is similar, except the exercise places you in a very powerful place. It places you in a very, very powerful place, because your whole life, your consciousness has been fed by your thought processes and all the noise and all the emotions of that. When you separate from that, you are instantly where you're supposed to always be, in stillness. That place is where the Spirit of God is the guiding light for your consciousness. And that's how simple this is. Okay, thank you very much for listening. And I ask you to please send me any questions on this exercise. I will do my best to answer. And I'm also going to add a link below this video to there's maybe another recording of this exercise which is in isolation to the introduction, and you can use that as a maybe to help you as well. But if you don't understand anything that I've done here, or you're finding it difficult, I really, really ask you to contact me. I know this exercise is extremely powerful, and it has literally saved people's lives. It's very powerful because of what it does. It's a very simple thing, and yet it's so powerful. The truth is that we've all been lost in thought, and we're trained that way. And I want to remind you, there's nothing wrong with thought, and there's nothing wrong with the mind. It's just that it was not supposed to be our guiding light. The Spirit of God is supposed to be in the forefront of our life. And that happens when you're in separation from the mind, when the mind is just crazy, buzzing and talking and worrying and thinking and all this stuff. Then that mesmerizes us. And in that place, you are not with the Spirit of God. The Spirit of God hasn't gone. It's still there, just like a radio station. So if you imagine it, there's radio stations. The signal for a radio station is all around me right now. If I get a radio and tune it, the signal's there, and that's as it is with God. So that's how it is with God. You are tuned in to Radio Noisy Mind right now, or you have been, not right now, but typically in your life, we're tuned into Radio Noisy Mind. But the moment in fact, a better analogy would be that we turn the radio, or we separate ourselves from the radio, so that the noise of the radio isn't dominating our consciousness, and we observe it. But the analogy I'm going for here is that when you're in tune with the Spirit of God, it's like being on the channel, picking up the signal of God. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. That wasn't a great analogy, but that's the best I could come up with on short notice. Okay then, thanks for listening, and I look forward to getting your questions and helping you further. Thanks a lot. This is Mark, signing out. And don't forget to like and subscribe and all those good things. And I appreciate all the help. And share this video. Please share these videos with as many people as you can, because I know this will help a lot of people. Okay, thanks. Bye. We now offer one-on-one online counseling for those who need more personalized help. Please visit paradiseamnesia.com to find out more details. If you'd like to get a copy of my upcoming book, please visit the website and pre-register on the early bird list. When the book's released, we'll send you a discount code and you'll be able to buy the book at a greater discount than the retail price. If you'd like to invite me to speak at your gathering, also please visit paradiseamnesia.com. If you're looking for interesting articles, videos, and other information regarding these subjects, please visit my blog, paradiseamnesia.com. And thanks for listening.